This is the first panel of the day. I want to keep it really short and really fun as well. And because I'm in a bit of rush because I have a flight to catch, I'll try to make it interactive as well. So myself, Sonny Mohanty, I'm traveling from Singapore. I am the regional director of the cryptocurrency exchange La Token. So when I saw this event, and I was really interested to explore Bangalore because this is my first time in Bangalore, and these guys have been really amazing, hosting parties, networking parties, and all this stuff. So very good experience so far. We are in the right panel because we all belong to exchanges, crypto exchanges. We have a short panelist, a very small panel as well today, which is good. So basically, I would like to ask you about your journey in the exchange and what are your thoughts so far after Binance got involved and everything else.
To be very frank, it's been just 2 years, so I think he would have more in terms of journey than what I can say. But then the journey has been explosive. Okay, like so there's this. I mean, of course, Bitcoin going up and down. We are emotionally going up and down. Then you have regulations coming and going, which directly affects what we are doing. So it is a very exciting journey for us. Even what we've been doing for WazirX and things for community in India. We are quite excited about where this is going to head, right? So that is why we are in this game and looking forward for more collaboration and resource share from finance such that we can take these experience, these resources and add more value to what we are doing right now.
Okay, great. Would you like to introduce yourself first and then say a few things?
Sure. I'm Sathvik from Unocoin. So Unocoin is the trading platform. It's actually the first trading platform in India that we created in the year 2013. So the obvious question is, why did we create it? It's because before that we were doing meetups about the Bitcoin since about a year before that. And 2013 is also a year where the Bitcoin gained significant prominence because the price of the Bitcoin went from about $16 to about $1,000. So this also made more and more people getting interested in attending these meetups. But while we could tell great things about Bitcoin and how it is decentralized, open source, so many properties, then the obvious question is where they can get one if they really want. And there was no answer in India. But if you see a country like US, they had Coinbase. So I thought maybe we need a service like that in the India as well, where people can, without any kind of hesitation, be able to send the money and buy the Bitcoin and be a part of it. And yeah, that eventually led us to launch Unocoin in very similar conference like this, but even this is also GBC. Ours was also called GBC, but ours was Global Bitcoin Conference. So yeah, we launched the exchange, or I would say trading platform at that point of time, and we kept it as trading platform where people can just simply buy and sell because Bitcoin already is complicated in the year 2013. And to say about, okay, there is like trees, and then you have mountains, and then you have depths, and there's so many things that you really need to explain to people when you directly talk about exchanges. So we kept it simple, it's just buy and sell. And as the market matured in the year 2017, we also launched the exchange. So yeah.
Great, thank you, Sathvik. Thanks for that. I'm just conscious of the time. Can you just give us a short introduction, and I can move to the next questions? Thank you.
Yeah, so I'm Pankaj, CEO of Delta Exchange. I was here 2 minutes back, so I'm sure. We are a derivatives exchange, and yeah, we have futures, perpetual swaps listed on a bunch of altcoins along with Bitcoin.
Great. Now that I know a bit about all of you, the burning question in India right now is about regulations. And what do you think the steps crypto exchanges can need to take to comply with regulations? Anyone?
Okay, so see, the regulation confusion is as of now between RBI and the banks. Actually, the particular notice that has been sent out by the RBI is only for the banks that they should stop supporting the exchanges and individuals to provide the bank accounts who are, if they are trying to deal with the cryptocurrencies, where it could be like lending, it could be for trading, exchange, or any kind of activities. I think so. They obviously have quite a few valid reasons of why they are trying to do that. But on the other side, if you see, being so crypto assets being not like an outlawed thing in India, they should really be doing it on one side. And on the other side, there is so much to learn from the other countries and try to implement it in this country as well, so that we don't lag behind maybe like 5 or 10 years in the game.
Anyone else want to pitch in? Or?
Yeah, I mean, if you look at a very abstract point of view, we are at just the first leg of all these regulations, and there are many more to come. We'll pass this part of getting say basic RBI support, and then we'll have some laws around it, and there will be so much more to come. And I think this is going to be a journey, and it's just that we need our government and the rest of the entities to be in pace with this revolution, right? So this is just
Great. I have a question in continuation with that statement. How much has the market been affected due to the banking ban in India? And with this uncertain future, what plans can various exchanges have?
I think because see, in the India alone, the biggest market was for people to enter and exit the crypto assets. Okay, and if we are talking about the swapping of different cryptos, like an crypto exchange, then there are many international opportunities, many international options for them. And for people to get in and get out of this, they really needed the bank accounts, because all exchanges were only providing this service through the bank accounts. They wanted to be like KYC compliant, and they had to do the self-regulations and such things. And due to this, I would say like more than 90% of the volumes are definitely gone. There are some exchanges which are now here are just trying to do the crypto-to-crypto trading, and some of them are doing peer-to-peer to swap the Indian rupees from 1% to 1%, and others, they've also kept some balances from the other users who kept the INR as it is without withdrawing when they had an opportunity. So using that particular balance, there is some trading happening, but yeah, it's very, very insignificant. It's not sufficient for the exchange to survive.
Got it. Anybody else?
So, this particular question does not apply to derivatives exchanges as such, because most of the derivatives exchanges, including ours currently, are not so dependent on fiat. So, there will be a time when people will look for fiat for margining, but where the ecosystem is currently, and the way I see it, it's going to be for the next few years, margining is going to be done largely in crypto assets. So I think Siddharth probably would have a better perspective on this.
Thank you.
I think obviously from a very emotional perspective or sentiment perspective, there has been a decline in terms of people participating in this crypto movement. However, innovation is also very key. The way we used to do things before, where we have deposit of INR and using that as a market for you to buy and sell crypto, was very limiting, because it has limited liquidity, right? So like he said, you have only relying on INR was a very difficult task. So therefore you needed something different, and even we brought in P2P, because of which we are able to continue to have better liquidity and a better enter and exit strategies for traders to get in. So this is still like you're still keeping the flags flying for the crypto part, only because of certain things, right? But obviously, if we have the direct backing out, that will be amazing.
I'm sure. All right. Thank you for those answers. Moving on to the next one. It's basically from India perspective. How can India learn from global markets about regulations and everything else that's happening around crypto exchanges? So what India can learn from the global market out there?
Sure. See, India is one of the very highly regulated countries, especially when it comes to the monetary policies and anything happening with the economics and such things. And it is obviously very true that if there is any kind of shift or any kind of change in the status quo, they very obviously react in a very aggressive and adverse manner. So that has been happening like since forever, right? And on the other side, if you see the laws that RBI follows, I think it's like about 50 years old, and the contract laws that it follows is, I think it's about 210 years old. It's like 18 or something. That's what I heard recently. So, I mean, if you are trying to apply such kind of laws to some kind of new asset classes that we have, that the world has seen within the last decade, it obviously it cannot fit right, no matter what you do. So I would say that because of the way the RBI and SEBI and few other such regulators are structured, probably we need a more aggressive startup-like regulator who can move at the speed of the startups and still be able to support the innovation and be able to quickly take the decisions, not like a draft bill to the actioning of, I mean, making that actionable. It takes like 6 months or 1 year. I mean, that's definitely not how the innovation of startups works in other countries. So I definitely think the regulators should start seeing a much bigger picture. Don't look too closely about, oh yeah, this can be used for money laundering, terrorist funding, and such kind of things. And we should be more looking at how this can benefit how you can remove the third-party interventions and increase the trust in this kind of system, etc., and take it forward. So this is what I think.
Yeah, I agree to that. What you said, regulator has to be very progressive. Like I live in Singapore, MAS, which is the central bank, they are so pro crypto. And last year, the Singapore FinTech Festival, I think they were like, it's a small number, but yet significant amount of crypto companies were exhibiting. Like 15% were like all crypto companies, and we see ads everywhere promoting crypto in Singapore. I think India can learn something from the little
For sure, yeah.
tiny dot, how progressive they are in terms of adoption when it comes to central bank and regulators.
Yeah, it's definitely true. So on the other side, if you see, India has always waited for other developed countries to take some kind of decisions. It not only waits for them to take decisions, they also want those countries to validate their decision. Okay, so once they see things in action, everything going good, not really things are going bad, then they will think of introducing it here. Right, so this is one of the reasons why India did not face such a huge recession in 2007, 2008. And if you see like the payment gateway, US had the payment gateway that just happens on the internet where you can pay on the internet directly using Visa and MasterCards. And we got it about like some 8 or 9 years after that. Right, so and then in US they see, okay, there are so many issues with chargebacks, blah blah blah, 100 things. But when they introduced it here, we didn't have that problem because they understood there are the problems that is happening in the other countries, and then they said, okay, we just need like 6-digit PIN code or maybe send an SMS, and they identified little bit more innovative methods so that when that kind of technology gets implemented in India, it is more suitable for the Jugaad Indians. That's what I think.
Great, thanks.
So I want to add to that a little bit, and I agree that we wait till the other countries prove something that okay, now this is working, this has happened, we have identified the problems, and let's move forward now. Now this approach kills innovation because in that time you are not innovating. You should be confident enough to be able to solve the problems because, like for example, the spin thing. This is not very difficult to solve, right? If you're having chargebacks, just go and solve. Don't wait for other countries to first stumble on problems and then solve those and then implement solutions here. We can innovate, we can basically show the world that look, this is the way you do things. And I think that attitude change needs to happen from the regulators side a little bit.
So obviously it's very difficult to fully understand the scale of the problems or things that could happen when you go live. But I think if we want to, if we have the attitude of being innovative, what we can do, and there's so many solutions, is probably have a sandbox for what we're going to do. Right, because here you would understand what's happening, and eventually we learn out of it, and we can do some certain things in the long term. And I feel it's more to do with the attitude of how should we follow or should we lead, right? And we have to make that change somewhere.
You're very right, and on those points about having a sandbox, because that's what Singapore has done. They have a sandbox which is hosted within the central bank, and these projects can come and test it out, and they've been very progressive. As you said, lead or follow. They have been leaders, but I really want my country, obviously I'm Indian, to be the leader in this space as well. Hopefully things will change this year for good. Okay, so next question I have, because I see a lot of Indian projects out of India, so that continuation of that, what's the best jurisdiction for registering a crypto exchange? Because I meet projects who are not only crypto exchange, but projects as well into crypto and blockchain space. They find it difficult to register their offices in India, and they're registering in Estonia and everything else. What are your thoughts on that?
I won't be able to comment too much on the project part of it, but from an exchange perspective, because there is no formal, regulatory guidelines on how to do it, we usually incorporate the way, how you would have incorporate a company which is easy for investment, easy for going global, things like that. Usually, you have a subsidiary model, which happens not just in crypto, but even in any other startup, right? You probably have, if you're looking to fund from outside India, you might have an outside entity and have an Indian entity, so things like that. But there is still no clarity, and that also makes us, we are very, very cynical about what we do at each part. We don't want to do something wrong, so we are very careful about what we do in terms of we make sure everything is structured well, such that it's more safer.
Yeah, right.
So we have identified that the Singapore has been the best country. I mean, that's where even our companies now have parent companies based out of. So the first reason is why we did go to European countries. So first thing is you have a language barrier, right? So it just makes it such comparatively much the Paytm balance as the government's cryptocurrency. And anyway, no one is mining it. It is just happening in behind the scenes. They could have called it as a cryptocurrency because there is no real cryptography involved. They may just call it as the government-sponsored digital currency. They just keep it simple. And if you see on the other side, maybe the government is already doing it through this UPI and IMPS, where they are able to send the money and receive the money with like any point of time without restricting about holidays or non-banking hours or anything like that, and they are able to do that. And I think in India, probably that don't really have a great significance. But these definitely will have a significance in countries like Australia, where when I was in Australia like about 10 years ago, when I was studying there, when I send the money from my Commonwealth bank account to ANZ, it takes 2 days to reach there, right? And at that time, India already had NEFT, which only was taking like 2 hours. Right, so these kinds of things, I think India is quite advanced, at least in the financial sector, in making the transactions happen, and the significance of such kind of country-sponsored digital currencies are business.
Okay. So, are we now because of the time? Thank you all. Thank you so much for your time.